it's me, Coco, and if you think that I look a little bit unwell, my eyes are kind of puffy, thank you for your concern. I'm kind of okay, but I really have been losing some sleep over some content that I've been seeing lately, and I just wanted to get on here today and talk about it. It's Plastic Free July, and Shelbi, aka Shelbizleee, recently came out with a video that was actually sponsored by the Flexible Plastics Association. And I thought I was taking crazy pills. And then she had an Instagram post, which I'm sure was part of the same sponsorship deal. And then yesterday she came out with a video that was a live stream where she was answering questions and just talking a little bit more openly and candidly about the subject. And I gotta say that I understand some of the points that she was making. Some things about this really don't sit right, and I really want to talk about it. So here I am. I'm pouring the tea, get the mop because I'm spilling it all over the place. In this video, I'm gonna talk about some of the things that Shelbi got right in her content, some of the things that she got wrong, some of the nasty ethics about the situation, and finally some shady YouTuber tricks that were employed in this that I know about as a YouTuber myself, and I want you as YouTube viewers to kind of be aware of this stuff that happens. So let's get into it. But first, a disclaimer. This is not a Shelbi call out video. I'm not canceling Shelbi. I am not going to attack her personal character. That's not what this is about. What this is a conversation that we all need to have as a zero waste or sustainable community, because we're all learning, we're all growing together. We're finding out about these things from each other at the same time. So I do think it's important to sit down and have this conversation. So I do want you to think about it like this. Let's just imagine I'm setting the scene. Shelbi and I are friends. You're one of our friends too. I invited you all over to have that tea, and we're just hanging out and we're talking, okay? And then I ask Shelbi, hey, what's been going on in your life lately? And she talks about this stuff, and I say, hey, I've been watching it, and this is what I think. It's a friendly conversation focused on facts, focused on objective information. And just like Shelbi said in her content, that we need to normalize changing our minds, we need to normalize being wrong and all of this stuff. So we also need to normalize just like treating people like humans and having a human, like compassionate conversation, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are also vegans, and vegans believe in compassion, so let's just be nice, okay? So no hate to Shelbi, no hate to me, please. I'm just trying to shine a light on this situation. And if you want to engage in conversation, I strongly encourage you to do it in the comment section below, where we can have civil conversations about these issues that we obviously care a lot about. So let's get into it. First things first, the things that Shelbi said that she thinks we didn't hear, but I heard them, and she's right. The zero waste movement is growing, we're learning, and at this point we know that it's not really fair to push the responsibility of the waste onto the consumers. And this whole time, it really should have been the producers that are at fault or responsible to be taking care of the plastic waste that's everywhere. That's one thing that she got right. So we need to advocate to the companies and to our government to make more efficient recycling and robust recycling programs, especially across America where a lot of waste is coming from, but all over the world. So wherever you're watching from, chances are there's room for growth, and we should be doing that. We should be getting civically engaged. Next, the internet loves black and white thinking, but black and white thinking is not healthy really about anything, and it's not really going to get us the solutions that we really need for this issue. So we're not going to say that anything is 100% good or anything is 100% bad. That goes for even plastic production. You know, there are plastics that are not single use that are very important. There are some things that just can't be done without plastics or plastic-like materials. There are downsides to the glass industry. There are downsides to like pretty much everything and upsides to pretty much everything. So we are working in shades of gray, and we really need to shift our mindset into looking at the shades of gray and then also assessing how relevant each of the things are within that spectrum for us specifically in our individual situations. So depending on who you are, what you like to do, where you live, what are the things that you're passionate about, what things are accessible to you, all of these things are going to affect what thing is best for you, what kind of green energy is best for you, what kind of packaging is best for you. So we can't do one size fits all solutions or recommendations for everybody because it's just not going to work. I wouldn't have such a strong reaction to the sponsorship if way before the sponsorship, I had a sinking feeling for the first whole 12 minutes of the video, feeling like, is this a commercial for plastic? Like, it feels like a commercial for plastic. It feels like she's trying to say that flexible plastics are good with no caveats. Like, what? Am I taking crazy pills here? That's really how I felt. And then at the end is the disclosure, and then I thought, okay, this makes a lot more sense. She was paid to say all of this stuff. Even that at face value is like, okay, people get paid to say stuff all the time, but the things that she was paid to say were kind of messed up, and I'm gonna go into that a little bit later in the video, okay? So overall, just like, I don't know if Shelbi realizes this, but me as a viewer, I do watch a lot of Shelbi's videos. I've been subscribed to her channel for a really long time, and I comment on a lot of her videos, and recently she started commenting back, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then this one, it just didn't seem like her. I think that she thinks it sounds like her. To me, it didn't seem like it, personally. I'll give you an example. So in a past video, I think it was relatively recent, it was maybe like things that seem like they're eco-friendly, but they're not. And one of the things that she listed was vegan leather. And she said that vegan leather is basically still petroleum-based and still bad for the environment. It's just like buying plastic, so don't buy vegan leather. But what's the difference between that and flexible plastics? I mean, vegan leather jackets and bags and stuff still have utility. They're still super useful. They're durable, they're water resistant, and have a lot of the same positive qualities, or maybe comparable positive qualities, as flexible virgin plastic packaging has, for example. And ever since I saw that video, I thought twice about buying vegan leather products. And there's actually a jacket that I really want that's just like the cutest vegan leather, cropped leather jacket. And I didn't buy it because I heard Shelbi make that point. And I thought, you know what? She has a point there. I don't agree with her about the bio-based plastics and the new ones that are like apple and pineapple leather and cactus leather and stuff. That's a totally different topic. But virgin vegan leather made from petroleum plastic, I decided I don't want to buy that stuff. But now Shelbi saying, what if I told you that flexible plastics are not as bad for the environment as this? And she's saying, I've been saying this stuff all along. I think you can see how there's a disconnect there between like what you have said in the past, like with certain things. There's some things that you have always been saying. Like, we have to take into account the entire footprint of a product. Also change the way that I think about it. So yes, we do need a nuanced view, but there's still some things that are just completely outright unacceptable for a YouTuber to do, especially one with a following as big as yours, Shelbi. If you watch the video past the 10-minute mark, it's great. These are the points that I think Shelbi really wanted to make. Why did they have to wait until the last 2 minutes of the video? The main point of the rest of the video, the part that most people are going to be watching, is about how flexible plastics aren't that bad, and it's confusing. It's really confusing, especially to some of us who are really passionate about the issues. And, you know, I'm going to sleep thinking about this. I'm losing sleep thinking about this. My eyes are puffy and my head's all crazy. I don't know, it's a lot. The idea of zero waste is flawed because it shifts the responsibility onto the consumer for the end of life of the product, when actually it really should be the consumer who is funding the recycling plants and basically the end of life of the product that they're making. Why is it us? Why do we have to be in charge of it? Why leave it to like all of the people who like don't know or don't care how to do it correctly? Brands should know. Brands should know their products best and how to deal with them the best. Okay, another thing that she got right is that there is more to a product than just the packaging. So you have the greenhouse gas emissions, you have food waste, you have shipping emissions, you have supply chain tracing. All of these things are really important. So in her Instagram post, she is holding a plastic bag of mangoes, and she said that the alternative, she could have gotten them from the bulk bins pre-packaged. I don't know what the situation in the US is now. Like, I think that you can get dried mangoes in bulk at like a Whole Foods or something if you really want them, and you can put it in your own package. Maybe they don't have them open still yet because of the pandemic. But she said that she got these particular mangoes in the plastic packaging because there was supply chain tracing, and she wanted to make sure that they were, you know, fairly produced, and that is really important. I mean, this is kind of what we were talking about with the shades of gray. Like, there's so many factors that go into making a single product, and to just harp on one specific aspect of one specific quality of the packaging, like that it has plastic packaging and therefore it's evil and we shouldn't buy it, it is ignoring a lot of other things that are going on in the background. However, we gotta be raising our voices about those too. That's why I started the hashtag Letters for Change campaign, so that we can demystify and normalize the practice of writing letters to the companies and to the government about changes that we want to see, including not just about packaging, but also supply chain tracing, reducing emissions, and all of that. There's lots of things. There's like endless amount of things that you could write to companies about for endless amounts of products. Like, we all can do our part by taking action. But again, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later in the video. Okay, no, actually I'm just gonna talk about it right now. So she says that, you know, we want to spend our time and energy focusing on influencing the people who really matter a lot in changing a particular thing. So instead of taking a lot of energy to convince your parents to recycle, we should be convincing the governments, like our city municipalities, to increase their recycling programs and awareness about recycling, or even making recycling incentives so that people maybe get more of a deposit back when they recycle their goods and stuff like that. That's where real massive change is going to happen, and we really need to be focusing our efforts there like that. Hashtag Letters for Change. All right, this one is going to be the hardest pill to swallow, and it is that plastics, flexible plastics, and even synthetic materials take a much lower resource footprint to produce. And even more on that, it takes even less footprint to like produce recycled ones. I too have been in it in my mind, just thinking about the ethics of my favorite sustainable activewear company, Wolven. I'm an ambassador for them, and they make these like amazingly stunning reversible activewear tops and bottoms and stuff. I mean, they're amazing, and I stan the brand, but it's plastic. So I kind of went through when I heard more about microplastics and water pollution with them, and I was thinking, like, is this the wrong thing? Like, should I only be using clothing that's made from natural materials like cotton or hemp? Organic cotton and hemp, for that matter. And when I did a little bit more research, I found out that to produce this made from recycled plastic, stuff that would be otherwise going into the oceans, polluting the earth, if we're not making it into something else, it takes a fraction, like a tiny fraction of the resources to make it compared to organic cotton. I made this point in a previous video, and I still stand by this. I think this is the future. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, if your activewear or swimwear or any kind of synthetics are not made from recycled materials, they are not worth your money, 100%. Maybe I'll go into this more in a future video. So it's really important to keep in mind the nuances and just like multiple factors when you are making a decision of what to buy. So just in case you are interested in buying Wolven, you can get 20% off with my code COCO in the description box, but we move on. Now let's talk about some of the bad points or things that just didn't really make sense in her argument. She was comparing flexible plastic packaging to glass in most of her video. as though glass is the only sustainable alternative to flexible plastic. That didn't really make sense because I don't think anybody's trying to argue that. Like, yeah, glass it's a sustainable material, but it's not the only one. There are so many other alternatives. You have paper, you have cardboard, you have glass, yes. You have recycled plastic, which I'm okay with supporting. And there's even these new plastic-like compostable alternatives. This is the bag that my protein powder comes in. This is the pouch that my toothpaste tabs come in. They're made of, it feels like paper on the outside, and there's like a thin plastic coating, plastic-like coating on the inside of both of these packages. And they're both supposedly, according to the companies, they're both home compostable, which is, I feel like, the gold standard for this type of flexible packaging. These packages are not going to be wasting away in a landfill for centuries after I die, and that's why I get them. Why not be pushing these materials instead of virgin plastic packaging? It doesn't make any sense. Or even talking more about using recycled plastic instead of virgin plastic. I mean, this is one way that the video really missed the mark for me. Like, please talk more about compostable packaging, please. And then also, why not talk more about increasing green energy? Because if it's the energy or emissions that we're worried about, isn't the real problem the fossil fuels? Because they're making the emissions. If we had cars that ran on green energy, you know, if manufacturing plants were run on green energy or renewable energy sources, it wouldn't matter as much how much energy was put into producing one product, if that makes sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. The emissions are only that bad because it's fossil fuels. And sorry, but the flexible packaging industry, the perfect packaging or whatever, is the plastic industry, is the oil industry, is fossil fuels industry. What's the difference? That's why we're pissed about this partnership. So, you know, it's not just about recycling, it's about reducing petroleum-based products on the surface of the earth, right? Don't we need to be keeping fossil fuels inside the earth where they belong instead of pumping them out where they're causing so much damage? That's why we don't want to be promoting or taking money from virgin plastic producing companies or associations or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's where we need to have more education about innovation to take us into, you know, the next generation or the next age of energy. Promoting flexible plastics isn't going to do it. It's just not. Not in my opinion, and I wasn't convinced by you that it is. Based on what you said, that I watched, like, you know, I paid a lot of attention, made a lot of notes. The waste management in this country is a mess, and it's this way. It's so old and outdated and insufficient because our partisan politics in the US is a circus. It's an embarrassment, and no matter where you come from on the political spectrum, but especially if you are conservative or Republican and you live in a conservative or Republican district or state, it's so important to be contacting our lawmakers to let them know that we really need to prioritize this. This is a crisis for us in the US and for people all over the world. And we need to be doing something about it like yesterday. So yes, there needs to be nuance. I agree with you on some things. I disagree with you on other things. Things that I super disagree about are coming later in the video, so keep watching. But yeah, solutions are not simple, and that's the reality of it. Absolutely. The solutions aren't simple. We're actually gonna have to hit it from a lot of different angles all at once. So we're gonna have to take it from the producer's side, we're gonna have to take it from the government, and also, yes, from individual actions, because they do make a difference. That's how we've made progress so far, even with this like misguided effort and energy that we've been putting into it. Let's write those letters, let's get civically engaged. Hashtag letters for change. Shelbi said in her video that getting local food is a privilege. Yes, it is. But it's not like it's not worth mentioning, because it still solves a lot of the problem. So instead of like not mentioning getting food local, if we really care about reducing emissions and reducing packaging and stuff, then we would say, if you can, get whatever you can local, and then just get the rest not local, and then don't feel so bad about it because you did the most that you could. So if people don't have local food available to them, they just get what they can, and that's okay. It's simple. Now to talk about some like super messed up stuff. This is so bad. Media literacy. The super messed up part about this video is that, and also about her Instagram post, is that the study that she's citing is from the plastic company. In the video, they call it something else. They call it like the English Environment Agency or something like that. So I looked up, I did a very simple Google search of the English Environment Agency flexible packaging study, and a link came up from bpf.co.uk, plastic packaging and environmental impact. I didn't see an actual study itself. Shelbi didn't link it, which is another super problematic part of this whole video situation. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. What do we see? Copyright, British Plastics Federation 2021. And if you look at the entire page, basically you can see where Shelbi got all of her talking points. So then dig just one layer deeper and look at the studies that they're citing there. One of the studies that they cite is from Coca-Cola. Another one is from, what was it? Yeah, Plastics Europe. It's so disappointing because I know that Shelbi is better than this. Like, she's a smart girl. You're a smart girl, Shelbi. If you didn't know that you were promoting studies that were paid for by the plastic industry, this was a huge oversight by you and unacceptable, really. Oh God, and I think about all the people that I've seen writing comments being like, oh, I never thought about this, and what a good point, and now they're gonna feel good about using flexible packages. And that was the point of the video. That's why the flexible packaging industry or association sponsored the video and sponsored your post. I haven't looked into all of the links on the site, but I saw enough. I would never do this partnership. Anyway, the point is, don't cite biased studies. Like, I don't have reasonable words to say about this. I can't be reasonable here. I don't understand. I'm still having a hard time understanding if it really wasn't about the money, if this is really because this is how you truly feel about the situation. I'm really struggling to understand why you made this decision. So a big reason why it's extra messed up is because Shelbi is like one of the top leading like sustainability influencers in the world, partnering with big plastic. Look into the Flexible Plastics Association and what brands it includes. It's like, if that's not big plastic, I don't know what is. Like, enlighten me. So anyway, one of the really big reasons why it's super extra messed up is because Shelbi's like, I'll say she's like the #1 influencer about sustainability, female influencer, especially on YouTube. I don't know anybody who's bigger than her. Lauren Singer, who did Trashes for Tossers and invented the whole like jar thing, she has made just like 1 or 2 videos in the past year. Shelbi has even more subscribers than she has. The only accounts that are bigger than her are like Vox and Goodful, which are not influencers. Like they're bigger companies and agencies. They're just bigger, okay? So she's one person, she's one influencer, super influential, has influenced me, maybe has influenced you too. So with power comes responsibility. She should be extra careful about vetting her sponsors because people are really paying attention to what she's gonna say. My channel right now is like 3.5 subscribers or something like that. She has literally 100 times more subscribers, but maybe like 1,000 times more influence than I have, because people pay more attention to bigger accounts. It's just a reality. But she's literally profiting off of sustainability because, you know, she's making content all about it. She has all these affiliate links. She has sponsorships. There's nothing really wrong about it. But when you're profiting off of something, like you take the money from big plastic, which is big oil, which you know is a huge contributor to climate change, there's something that doesn't sit well. Of course, she can do whatever she wants. She can let anybody give her money that she wants, but I don't know, the due diligence wasn't put in. The disclosure should have been in the beginning of the video, and she should have told us, like straight on, why she's doing this partnership, why it actually makes sense, even though at face value it doesn't make sense. But actually, when you just peel back one layer, it still doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. This one was just, So Shelbi does these ranking videos where she ranks companies according to their sustainability. Are they really sustainable? And she ranks the ones with radical transparency at the top. And I think if we were going to rank Shelbi, rank herself by the same standards, especially based on just this video and this like suite of content, no, I wouldn't rank her high. She'd probably be close to the bottom, because like, I really don't want to call it greenwashing, because I think the term is kind of like overused and misused often. But like, the more I did research for this video, the more I realized like, oh my God, this is totally greenwashing. Oh, they got her. I don't know, I'm sorry, Shelbi, but you got. They just, they really did one over on you. I do hope that you got paid a lot of money for this, because it was messed up. You say you didn't do it for the money. I have a feeling that you would not have made this video if somebody wasn't paying you to make it. Maybe you had the same idea, but it would completely come out completely different. This next part, you said, I'm not an activist. To be honest, that's a bit relatable, actually. I also don't really see myself as this person who's just like shouting at the front lines and is like a step ahead of everybody. I just don't feel like I'm there. And you say that you're getting into it, and so am I. I'm also like getting more into it, and hopefully our audience members are also getting more into it, getting more civically engaged, because that's what we really need to see with the government. Because I feel like at this point, even though I don't feel like an activist, it's outside of my comfort zone. I kind of feel like, especially saying that you care about sustainability, especially being the #1 female sustainability influencer in the entire world, to say I'm not an activist, it's just not enough. And let me tell you why. There's so much work to do. When you think about your why, I think it'll make a lot more sense about how you can make it happen. For me, I'm just gonna be super radically honest and personal, but like, I've been through so much in my life. I had a very difficult childhood, and I spent my whole 20s just in a mindset of survival. And it's taken me up until this point, I'm 34 now, to finally get my dream of being a YouTuber and making video content about stuff that's fun and that I'm passionate about. Because I just went through so much in my past, I need the rest of my life to be beautiful and easy. And I try so hard to make it so. I try so hard to take care of myself. I try so hard to take care of my environment, because I don't want to struggle any more than I already have. And you said that you're not sure if you want to have children and bring people into this world, and I feel very similarly. I was thinking the exact same thing right before you said that. And I think about my niece, who's 3.5 years old. You know, in 2050, she's going to be about my age, and I cannot imagine like what the world is going to be like for her. So I do this work so that in the future, I can look back at me right now and say, I tried my hardest. I did everything that I could do, even though it was outside of my comfort zone. So I'm not saying that you need to be on the front lines. I'm not saying that you even need to be talking to people, but like writing letters. And I know you do this because you made your letter writing guide, but like talking about that more and being more of an influence to make this big change is so critical to get us to where we need to be. I've had the privilege to get to travel and live in a lot of different countries in my life, and the pollution is everywhere. And you know what a lot of it is? These flexible plastics. You know this already, but you know, when I was growing up in Southern California, all my surfer friends would come with sinus infections and staph infections constantly to school because the water was so polluted. When I was working in West Philadelphia, I saw mountains of trash that looked like they hadn't moved in years. Same thing in India, in Rishikesh, where I studied yoga, and same thing in Macedonia. Beautiful, beautiful countries that are wrecked by companies that are allowed to have this packaging that is super harmful to the environment without government supporting the people and cleaning it up. And without those companies also having to take responsibility for that packaging that they're producing. Okay, you know all of this. I guess what I'm trying to say is that like all over the world, we're seeing the negative effects of pollution and climate change. We're having the storm, the winter storm with the blackouts in Texas. Now we're seeing insane heat waves. It's not gonna stop. So I'm doing this for my niece. I'm doing this for me in my future, and that's my why. So if you think about your why, then I think it'll make it a little bit easier to open your computer and write a letter and like tell your huge following about it. And just say in a way like, I wrote a letter. Who are you gonna write a letter to this week? You know, that kind of thing. But do whatever you want. It's your channel, you're an adult. I just think that would be awesome if you did more of that. And we could get a little bit closer to getting the momentum behind the change that we need. Last segment, the Shady Youtuber stuff. First thing, putting the disclosure at the end of the video. We should have known at the beginning of the video that it was sponsored by the Flexible Plastics Association. We should have heard from you why you chose to do this partnership. I watched the video twice because you said you were really proud of the way that it came out, and so I kind of wanted to see the video again in your eyes, and I see. It's a nice video, it's produced very well, but you just didn't nail home the point well enough. It was very confusing and very frustrating. For example, this doesn't make any sense. If the full footprint of a plastic bag has 60% of its footprint coming from the extraction of the raw materials, then doesn't that mean that we shouldn't be extracting any raw materials for plastic bags anymore? But it's also shady to put that disclosure at the end of the video when you know that most people are not going to watch it that far. I make YouTube videos myself. I know that the retention rate, it doesn't stay flat, right? It's the highest at the beginning of the video and then it goes down. Your viewers deserve to know, especially because you are a big sustainability YouTuber, who sponsored the video and why you did this partnership. I hope that makes sense. Am I the only person who thought that the thumbnail and the title were really misleading? Because I was like clicking on it thinking that it was like why zero waste isn't gonna work, but then the video was actually about why plastic films are good. That was shady. It was like a thumbnail and a title for a completely different video, it felt like to me. It had a trash jar on it, but there were no trash jars in the entire video. The super shady thing, deleting critical comments. Part of me understands why you do it, because I know that some people are very mean. Some people write very mean comments and they take it to a personal level instead of just talking about the issues like they should. I felt like I was taking crazy pills again when I went back to the post and saw that a comment that I wrote was deleted, saying a lot of the stuff that I already said. And also that I'm rooting for you and I really want you to do better next time. I don't think that it was deletable, you know, but like maybe you didn't have anything to say and you wanted to have the last word. I don't know. You say you want to take the conversation in the comments, but then you delete the comments that are critical. It doesn't make sense. And then only making content about things that are going to make you a lot of money, like, you know, this sponsored post with Big Plastic, which I hope they paid you a lot for. And then other videos that are essentially just like lists of things that you have affiliate links for. Although, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You probably liked the thing before you got the affiliate code, but doesn't the affiliate code make you want to talk about the thing more because it helps support your channel? Yeah, radical honesty here. That's one of the reasons why I like to talk about Wolven. It makes being a full-time YouTuber a viable full-time option for me. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just a lot. Continuing to make videos with the intention of just like selling more and more stuff instead of advocating for change. So that doesn't really sit right with me either. Finally, this is not a message for Shelbi, but a message for like all of the audiences. If you've gotten this far, thank you. The audience needs to be accountable as well. If you see a topic that might not be the sexiest topic, like maybe you should still click on it. Like don't only click on things that say zero waste or like clickbaity stuff. And maybe it's not a bad idea to request more videos from your favorite content creators about things that you're more interested in. Or not that you're more interested in, but like more eco-friendly stuff and less consumery. More civic action-y stuff and less consumery stuff. That's my challenge for you. Anyway, we can all be better. Like I said, this is a conversation. Thanks so much for watching this far into the video. I have a feeling it's going to be extremely long, and I'm sorry that it couldn't be better. I did whip this up in a very short period of time. Shelbi's reaction video was just last night. So let me know if you want to hear more from me about this. And yeah, if it's your first time here, I make videos about vegan food, sustainability, and radical self-care. And if you want to see more about that stuff, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified when my videos come out. If you think that this video was important for other people to watch, please, please, please consider sharing it on, you know, a Facebook group or a Reddit thread or something like that so that we can keep the conversation going, because Shelbi's right, we do need more nuanced conversations about what's going on, but at the same time, some things are still just straight up unacceptable, and we need to hold each other to a very high standard if we really want to make a difference in the world. So let's all change the world together, but let's all please grow together and still accept each other along our journeys, as long as we are trying our best to do good. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye.